On Legion Nudie here playing more RuneScape Dragonwilds. Welcome to our Daily Gaming XP Grind, episode 66. So, last time we did a little bit of cooking and worked on attack XP. So, this time, I want to pretty much do the same thing. I think I'm going to be getting more cooking resources than cooking XP. So, what we're trying to do, we're going to be collecting a lot of the dwell berries, as well as killing animals for XP. I can't seem to find, you can see all of our essence. There's a little bit of sheep and ram over here. We obviously want to grab all the dwell berries as well, as these actually provide quite a bit of XP, as it's one of the higher tier things that you can sort of make into a food right now. And obviously we want to gather them, and then we're going to go ahead and kill these sheep. But this is basically going to be, I believe, these are, if you use your lodestones, if you've got them all around like I do, it's going to basically allow you to have access to killing lots of animals at once, versus potentially having to run around and kill creatures by simply exploring, which will take you quite a bit of time. There are two enemies over here, but there's lots of sheep and ram. The problem I really have with this is I don't think we're going to have a good shot to kill both of these guys, but we're going to do our best. So let's just try to block all the arrows. This is really a bad situation, but we're going to do our best. We got lightning smacking us, so that actually sort of worked in our favor. It's just good one of them is not a shaman, as that would have been a lot worse situation. So we got one of them. We got lucky that it was just two rangers versus maybe potentially the melee ones are a lot harder to kill. So I'm glad it was not a hunter, as those are just a lot more trouble. So it looks like we're actually going to be okay here. And the lightning is probably going to hit us. I don't think it did. It was a little bit over. But anyway, so this allows us to still come out here and kill. And that's a good thing. So, because there's quite a bit of sheep and ram right here. But ultimately, it's just a grind. That's all it is. There's not lots to report in lots of regard. I think it's just mostly rinse and repeat, which we've spoken about a little bit before. And that's pretty much all you can do until they release more content into the game. And you can see I've got quite a bit of rune essence right here. And if you're wondering why I didn't do it, quite a few episodes back, it's just we had been doing it for so long. I wanted to sort of, cut the video to the end. So we didn't actually keep getting rune essence, because ultimately I felt like we had done so much already in the video. And as you could see from my last video, we've got so much in the bank. So I obviously just sort of cut it short, but I'm going to keep stockpiling those there, as well as the other areas that I've got lodestones for Runescence, and then we will get back to getting them. I just, ultimately, it didn't really matter at that point. Obviously, it's going to be a progression, and it really didn't make or break us. So this is tricky here, trying to get these dwell berries without getting smacked from this tree. So we may still get hit by it, but it's not really a big deal. I don't know, it's pretty there's a lot of satisfaction out of actually killing these, but they're just sort of spread out. So that's why we've got lots of lodestones. I almost want to put more lodestones, just so I don't have to run around as much. I don't rather enjoy it. Because as I've stated before, when I first started playing the game, somebody told me that you could only have 3 lodestones. Sort of I was reading, and it was a misinformation. So I ran around basically most of the game without any lodestones except the original 3. So I kept having to lift up my lodestone and then move it every time I get to a new area. So that was a little bit brutal. So to find out that you could actually have more than 3 lodestones was actually a blessing. And at the same time, when you've been running around the game for so long and then you find out you didn't have to do that, that actually hurts a little bit. But obviously there's the good part of that, was when you find out that now there is a solution. So we were grateful for that, obviously. But obviously, so much more work to do. And all of this is just basically not going to really do so much for us right now, other than give us XP. But in the long run, I think what it's going to do is just make, when updates come to the game, it's just going to be extremely rewarding for all the work that I have put in. And then basically going to get to reap the benefits of it and be able to just sort of do things in the game that I wouldn't be able to do initially, but I will be able to do them. And that's obviously going to be something I'll get to reap when it comes to Fell Hollow, which I'm super excited about, and I'm sure lots of you are as well. So if you were potentially looking for dwell berries, and you're just trying to work on your cooking, this is going to be a great place to do that. Now, except at nighttime when there's lots of enemies here that you're going to have to watch out for. Basically, that's not going to be a good time because they are dangerous. You usually got the shaman with the hunter and then the berserker, I think it's called. But basically, try to be here out in the daytime because it makes a world of difference. And if you're like me and you're trying to work on cooking, which I'm pretty sure everybody is, because obviously they nerfed doing the dirty water. So now you're basically left with the option of just having to cook the natural way, just sort of collecting different things. So that's probably how you're going to have to do it as well. I don't know what's going on, but I can't move my character. So I don't know that I've never had it stop here before. There's not really... A lot is built, but I must have accidentally triggered the area. So unfortunately, we're sort of just stuck here, and I hate it when this happens. But let's take a look what's in our inventory right now. So we got quite a bit of fleece. We've got quite a bit of a lot, actually. If you look, we've got... Let's see, 35 raw farm meat. That's not that much, actually. But basically 69 dwellberries. So I'm still stuck here. And there's not a lot we can do about it. This is the bad thing about building. I've talked about it a little bit more recently. But basically, you've got all these cool things you built in the game. And then you just sort of have to pay for it. In the regard of basically not being able to move when you teleport places. Which can actually be a little bit frustrating. Obviously, it's not the end of the world, but at the same time, it's taking up a lot of time when you could be doing other things. I guess if you sort of tallied up all the time that I've spent just sitting around, it's not a pleasant thing to sort of sit and calculate. So I try to stay away from areas like that, which is unfortunate as well, because then I have to sort of admire all my work that I've done in the game in that way as far as building. I've sort of got to do that a little bit further away, which is kind of unfortunate because I'd like to look at the things I built, but I don't want to necessarily have to basically wait around just to load into the game. So we got quite a bit here. We killed that guy. He didn't get a chance to get away. Let's go ahead and destroy all these sheep and ram over here, but there's so much essence on the ground here. I want to keep adding to that amount as well. I thought I saw a little bit more sheep and ram from the distance, so I guess it wasn't as much as I originally thought that was sitting over here. Oh, they're right there on the hill. But ultimately, we're going to have so many resources by the time Valhalla comes to the game. It's going to be crazy. Will I be able to use most of them in Valhalla? I've got no clue. Some of them might be helpful, and then some of them might have no use whatsoever. Because obviously, we're going to go into higher tiers. But I do believe that there's going to be some relevancy in the existing items in the game for the lower tier things. There's no proof behind it. It's just what I think. I think it makes the most sense. Now, I've got to come over here. There's quite a bit of dwellberries here, but it looks like we're going to have to kill this guy in order to get access to them. So now we've got a ram attacking us at the same time as this archer. I think we should, for the most part, be okay, except now there's another ram fighting us. So this is a little bit ridiculous, but I think we're going to be okay. So, but yeah, we're getting lots of attack XP still, and then there's so many dwellberries here. So that's also another good thing. We got some sheep. I think there's another dwellberry. It's really hard to see. It is a dwellberry. So let's go ahead and kill this other one. Collect these dwellberries. A little bit more. We got more. So it's quite a bit right there. So it's definitely worth it to kill them if they're still standing there. But sometimes I think there's a couple more enemies. So that wouldn't be worth it. That's ridiculous what just happened right there. But let's go ahead and go over here and see if any more sheep and ram have spawned. I don't see any. Oh, there's two right there. And there's a bunch that just spawned in. So basically, there's also a bunch of dwellberries here. But basically, if you're trying to level up cooking, I definitely recommend this. Obviously, you're going to have to build more storage chests because what happens is after a while, because it takes so much resources to level cooking, you're going to have somewhere to put all this stuff. I definitely recommend picking it up. If there's any of you who are dropping it on the ground, maybe just thinking, oh, I don't need that much food. We don't know what's going to happen when Valhalla comes to the game, or different challenges that the game might present. And it's very possible, because they've already stated that they want to sort of add different elements to the game in the new areas. That is probably going to, like, obviously I've talked about this a little bit, the sun one, where you're going to have to be in shade. So potentially you're going to need more food because you're going to be away from your base longer. And that's going to result in you needing to keep yourself hydrated and fed. So hopefully they've really dug deep into all this and tried to make it as, I guess I don't want to say realistic, but just sort of make sense in that way. There's a lot of bad guys down there. I really don't want to go down there, but that's not what we're going to do, because that's ultimately just going to get us killed. So we're going to go back this way. It is going to take a little bit of time, but I think it was worth it for all the dwellberries and the enemies. So that's an interesting little mistake right there, sitting up off the ground. So let's go back to one of our lodestones. We're probably going to go back to our base here in a little bit. We are working on attack and trying to get more resources for cooking. I think, obviously, people aren't going to watch every one of these episodes, but I think that over the course of time, that's when we're really going to see more progress. But as you can see here, you've got more people out now scouting, and that's why I say you really don't want to spend a lot of time here in the dark at nighttime. And the reason for that is basically because that's when they're out here scouting, and that's when they're going to cause the most trouble for you. Obviously, you can do it if you like, but ultimately, it's just going to lead to you dying more, and that's not fun. Nobody likes that. But definitely lots of sheep and ram out right now, so we're pretty grateful for that. Lots of attack XP. I mean, not lots in the sense of lots, but then again, who knows? Once we find out what the next 10 levels look like, then we can really start to dissect and look at different things in a game and say, okay, this is where we need to be. This is what we've still got to do in the game. But ultimately, really excited about farming coming to the game, and the doors and opportunities that that's going to allow us to sort of explore. I think it's going to be really exciting to have our own gardens in the game. And I think it's just going to be lots of fun. Loads of fun, for sure. So let's go ahead. And we're not going to go over a skill XP update just quite yet. What I'd like to do is actually pull a little bit of food out, since it's about to be nighttime. And then we could go ahead and cook a lot of this really quick before it does get dark. I don't see a lot of food, though. That's the problem. I think I cooked most of it last time. I was sort of putting all my food in one area, so that way I could keep things a little bit organized. But as you can see, clearly dysfunctional and just a huge problem trying to keep things together. I think that's going to happen, though. I've talked about that a little bit as well. It just sort of becomes be part of you because you do so much in the game that you can't really keep track of things anymore in the same way. It's just a lot. There's a lot going on. So we're definitely going to put these into here so we can get to cooking. That way we can go to sleep and get some cooking XP. But obviously it seems like it's taken forever, and that's kind of because it is. But ultimately, this is part of the progression. It's going to take time to get levels in all these different... Well, I wouldn't say levels quite yet. I would say XP in the skills. So it's just been quite the commitment, and trying to make sure... Did I forget to place those? I did. I was supposed to start all of them, and I did not. So let's go ahead and do that really quick. And then we've also got some rat roast. I don't know why that didn't get started. That's definitely from last time. Let's see which other ones I put stuff in. I don't even know at this point. There we go. Drop it there. There's nothing in there. So let's go ahead and we're just waiting for it to get dark. And then we're going to go to sleep. And then pop our cooking potion. And then basically do it all over again, because that's sort of what we got to do. It's not changing. It's just simply the way it is. And I don't know. I mean, I could collect cabbage, but I realized that when I collect cabbage, it just takes a lot of time. I don't think it gives as much XP, that's for sure. You definitely want to start collecting things that are in the higher level areas to get the best XP in cooking. But I suppose since we're waiting for it to get dark, it doesn't really matter. We can collect a little bit. Obviously, every little bit does help, even though it's sort of insignificant. I don't really have any creatures out here that I can kill to get meat while I wait, so I'll grab some berries. And it looks like it's almost time to go to sleep, so we will go ahead and do that. It's so crazy how different it looks now that we've cut down all the trees. I think it's really cool how you can sort of shape your own game and create a different sort of atmosphere while you play the game. I think that's really cool as well. So let's go ahead and pop our cooking potion. And then we're going to... We also need to fix our pickaxe, which is actually... Oh, that makes a lot of sense. I was thinking we don't really work on mining anymore, so why would we need to do that? And I think the reason for that is that we do a lot of rune essence. So 1644 XP. So not a lot, but we didn't really have a lot to actually cook. So we're going to put this in here as we try to keep things tidy. And then ultimately, let's do an XP update. I know we didn't accomplish a lot. We actually need to really start doing a lot more behind the scenes. That's definitely for sure. So let's just go ahead and do an XP update. I feel like my base should get raided really soon. It's been a while. Anyway, attack, 300,000. I definitely think that's an accomplishment. Nothing crazy, but it's still a really big deal. Wood cutting at 1 million. Didn't work on it. Construction didn't work on it. 2,009,000. Rune crafting, 539,000. Magic, 86,000. Mining, 4,080,000. Artisan, 4,094,000. And cooking, 232,000. So you could definitely see progress each time we play the game and put an investment into it. It's definitely yielding the rewards in the XP regard. But anyway, guys, we really hope you're enjoying our content. And that's going to do it for this episode. So until next time, Legion Nuda out.